Hello again, third grade. We're going to get started on lesson 1-3 today, and we're going to be talking about things called arrays. Now, these are really interesting, and it's a great way to show your multiplication that makes it easy for you to see what you're doing.
Mark has 12 sports cards. He arranges the cards with an equal number in each row. Find ways Mark can arrange his cards.
So over here, we know that there needs to be a total number of how many? There needs to be 12 cards total. So what we want to do is try and find different ways that we can make 12 using equal groups. So I can make one group with 12 in it, right? That's easy. One row, one long line across with 12 in it. I could make two groups with 6 in each group, right? Another way I can make 12 is 3 times 4, so 3 groups of 4. So I can make 3 in each row, or sorry, 3 rows with 4 in each row. And I can flip that. Instead, I could do 4 rows with 3 in each row. I can't use 5 because 12 is not a multiple of 5. So if I'm skip counting by 5, I'm never going to get to 12. I'll go 5, 10, 15. So I'm either less or too much. Or I can do 6 rows. So 6 times 2, or 6 groups of 2 will give me 12. Or 12 rows with 1 in each row. Now for every single one of these, the total I'm going to have is 12. So all of these, my answer is 12. So I can do one group of 12, 2 groups of 6, 3 groups of 4, 4 groups of 3, 6 groups of 2, or 12 groups of 1. So one group of 12 is 12, 2 groups of 6 is 6 plus 6, so that's 12. 3 groups of 4 is 4 plus 4 plus 4. 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 4 is 12. 4 groups of 3, so 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 3 is 9, 9 plus 3 is 12. I could do 6 groups of 2, so I can skip count by 2 6 times, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Or I could do 12 groups with 1 in each group, which also gives us 12. So let's go on and see what we can learn next.
How does an array show multiplication? We can learn how by using these swimming medals. Dana keeps her swimming medal collection in a display on the wall. The display has 4 rows. Each row has 5 medals. How many medals are in Dana's collection? The medals are in an array. How does an array show equal groups? An array shows objects in equal rows and columns. Each row in an array has an equal number of objects in it. The counters show 4 rows and 5 columns. Each row is a group of 5. You can use addition or skip counting to find the total. Since there are 4 rows with 5 counters, we add 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 20. Skip counting 5, 10, 15, 20. Multiplication can also be used to find the total in an array. 4 is the number of rows, and 5 is the number in each row.
You say 4 times 5 equals 20.
There are 20 medals in Dana's collection.
Jason also has a swimming medal collection. His display has 5 rows with 5 medals in each row. Draw an array for Jason's medals. Use skip counting to find the total number of medals. Then, write a multiplication equation for your array. There are 20 medals in Dana's collection. Who has more medals, Jason or Dana?
Okay, so let's take a look first at the information that we have here. So first we want to know what we know. All right, so we're going to underline all of the important information in our question. This is called annotating your question. When you annotate, it means you're taking notes. Annotate, notes. You have the word note in it. You're taking notes in there to pull out just the important information so you don't have to reread everything every time you go to solve a problem. So we know he displays 5 rows with 5 medals in each row. Okay, so that's important. So now, what are they asking us to do? So let's circle this part. 5 rows with 5 in each row. Okay, so we're going to use skip counting to find the total number of medals. We're going to write a multiplication equation for our array. And then we want to answer finally, who has more medals, Jason or Dana? Now let's go ahead and draw our counters. So we know he has 5 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with 5 in each row. So there's the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be a lot straighter if I was doing it on my paper, but you get the general idea. Okay, so we used our counters. So we're going to skip count. So we have over here, we have 5 rows and we have 5 in each row. So we're counting by groups of 5. So this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So how would we write that out? We would write that out by saying 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 25. Or if we're going to write it as a multiplication, we have 5 groups of 5. So 5 times 5 is also going to equal 25. Whoops. Okay. Let's move that down here so that we can see it. Now, we want to figure out who has more medals. So if we know that Dana had 20 medals, so over here, she had 20 medals in Dana's collection. Who has more? So if she has 20 and he has 25, we know that Jason has more medals than Dana. So Jason has more medals than Dana because he has 25 and she has 20. So if we're going to write this, we can write it as 25 is greater than 20. And that'll take us to the end of that problem. So we went through and we did all the different parts that we were asked about. We went through and we annotated our question. We pulled out the important information. We underlined what we were going to do. So we skip counted by 5s. We wrote a multiplication equation. And then we decided who has more medals. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into our guided practice. Before we do that though, I want to go over the notes that we took along the way while listening. So some important things that you guys should have written down, I've already written down here for you to share. So let's go through it. Now, remember, always at the top of your page, you put the title of the lesson and you put your date up in the corner. I haven't written my date in there yet, but you will be writing the title of your lesson, underline that at the top. Then we're going to go over some of the vocabulary. So we learned that an array shows objects in equal rows and columns. So rows are the ones that go across and the columns go up and down. So I color coded these for you. We have 2 rows over here, right? 2 lines. And there's 5 in each one of those lines. So there's 5 columns. The way we write that as a multiplication equation is we write the number of rows first and the number in each row. So this is how many groups, remember, and then how many in each one of those groups. And in case you need to remember, rows go across, columns go up and down. An easy way to remember that is columns has the letter L, and the letter L goes up and down. So as an addition sentence for here, I can say 5 plus 5 because I have 2 groups of 5. Or I can write it as a multiplication. 2 times 5 equals 10. The other important thing that we need to remember or learn about when we're working here is something called the commutative property of multiplication. Now, this property also exists for addition, the commutative property of addition and the commutative property of multiplication. And the reason that it exists in both is because multiplication is just repeated addition. It's adding over and over and over again. So what does that mean? It means the commutative property means you can multiply your numbers in any order and the product stays the same. That means your answer stays the same no matter which way you're doing it. Now, my original array that was up at the top over here, I had 2 rows of 5. 2 times 5 gave me 10. Now, if I took this array and I rotated it, right, I'm turning it on its side. Now I have 5 rows with 2 in each row. 5 times 2 also gave me 10. Now, the reason this stays the same is because I'm not adding any new numbers. I'm not taking any numbers out. All I'm doing is rearranging my numbers. So instead of skip counting by 5s over here, I'm going to skip count by 2s over here, but I'm skip counting the same amount. So 2 times 5 is going to give me 10. 5 times 2 is going to give me 10. The array stays the same. All I'm doing is I'm turning it on its side. So I'm taking my array and I'm basically flipping it. Now, I didn't take anything out of my array. I didn't add anything new to my array. So that's why my numbers here are going to stay the same. Now, moving into our guided practice for this lesson. So we talked about the commutative property. We saw in our lesson how when they turn the array, the answer still stayed the same, even though the array looks different now because it got turned on its side. Our first guided question or guided practice question here says, Mia put muffins in 4 rows with 7 muffins in each row. Draw an array to find the total number of muffins. So we know she made 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, with 7 muffins in each row. So there's going to be 7 in each one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember, this one counts towards your group. So count that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I know that one's going to be a little bit squishy to fit in there. That's okay. Just draw it a little bit small. So now we're going to find out how much she did. So it says complete the following statement. So over here, it told us draw an array. That's what they told us. So we had 4 rows with 7 in each row. That's the important information. Annotate in your questions, in your book. Since you can write on this book, use that opportunity to make notes of important things. So all it did was ask us to draw an array. Now it says complete the following statements. 4 times 7 is 28. So 7 times 4, now think about that. All you're doing is switching these numbers. So it's taking your array and it's flipping it on its side. If 4 times 7 is 28, according to our, over here, our commutative property of multiplication, that means 7 times 4 should also equal 28. All I did was I rotated my array. I didn't change any numbers in it. I didn't remove any numbers. I didn't put in any new numbers. Number 3, write and solve a multiplication equation for this array. So let's take a look. Let's see how many rows we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, okay? So we're going to do 4 times, how many are in each group or in each row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to do 4 times 6. That's going to be our equation. 4 times 6 equals our mystery number. We don't know what it is. So we're going to skip count by 6's over here. 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 6 is 18. 18 plus 6 is 24. So 4 times 6 is 24. And I can also do that if I want to. If I'm not sure, I can do it as an addition, right? 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. Now I know 6 plus 6 is 12, and the other 6 plus 6 is 12. And I know that if I do 12 plus 12, I'm going to get 24. So you can do it that way as well. All right, now for the independent practice, and this goes through question number 11 on the back side of this page. That's going to be your assignment. Please make sure you do your work neatly and carefully. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.